And now I want to invite up here a real pioneer, a very early adapter, someone who saw the Green New Deal and said yes. Said we have such a short amount of time. I'm going to support this right away. I am going to do everything I can in my community to help. Congresswoman Deb Halland. Yeah, let's get a standing ovation. Yeah. Congresswoman Halland grew up in a military family. Her father was a 30-year combat Marine who was awarded the Silver Star for saving 6 lives during Vietnam, and her mother is a Navy veteran and a 25-year federal employee in Indian education. As a single mom, she volunteered at her daughter's preschool in order to afford an early childhood education. Like many, she has lived paycheck to paycheck, has had to rely on food stamps, and struggled to put herself through college. Through hard work and determination, she earned degrees from UNM and UNM Law School. For several years, she ran her own small business producing and canning Pueblo salsa, gosh, we love that stuff, and later became the first chairwoman elected to the Laguna Development Corporation Board of Directors. She is a 35th generation New Mexican, an enrolled member of Laguna Pueblo, and has Jemez Pueblo heritage as well. After a lifetime of organizing communities to stand up for New Mexico families, Congresswoman Deb Halland was elected as one of the first 2 Native American women to serve in Congress. I cannot tell you what an honor it is to be able to introduce you tonight. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. I'm so happy to be in Santa Fe. So I'm the Congresswoman for District 1, and so guess what? My staff is like, you gotta be in the district, you gotta be in the district, so they don't let me travel that much. But you know what? I'm gonna start traveling because I miss everybody. I miss everyone across the state. So I'm so thrilled to be here to see my friends from Los Alamos and Linda and Charlotte, who taught me to truly love Bears Ears. We went camping last fall, and so one of the things that I really want to push is to make sure that people are spending time outdoors. Because look, if you're stuck inside all the time and kids aren't outside and they're not enjoying the outdoors, they don't know what to protect.
Yes.
And so I'm feeling, half the time I'm feeling like my colleagues on the other side of the aisle don't know what it's like to sleep under the stars or, wade through an icy cold river in your sneakers. And so, we just have to develop a new generation of people who adore our open space and public spaces. So I had a speech, but I left it in my bag. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about the way I was raised. My dad his family were from Norway. They immigrated to the United States in 1881 to find a better life for their families. And he was raised on a farm. And so every single day of my childhood, we spent outside. My dad kept a fishing pole in his car, and God help you if he ever saw a body of water, he would stop and we'd be there. His idea of a vacation was in a canoe in Dismal Swamp, paddling around for 3 days. So that was my childhood, right? But I loved every single minute of it. And when I wasn't with my dad, wading through swamps, I was in the field with my grandfather growing corn and picking worms off the corn because he never used pesticides. He probably couldn't afford pesticides, but good for him. And yes, and sitting under the shade of an apricot tree, eating apricots right off the tree that had been warmed by the sun. My grandmother didn't get running water until the mid-70s in Mesita village on the Laguna Pueblo. So when we would go and visit her, the kids had to go and fetch water in pails. And trust me, if you're the one hauling water, you don't use a lot of it because they make you go out and get more buckets. So I learned the value of conservation because we didn't have a lot of things. And so I take that with me every single place I go. And those early memories are why I care so much about our environment. One of the things that I'm completely obsessive about is zero waste. And thank you for mentioning that today, because I was just putting on some lip gloss, and it's in a plastic tube. So I need to figure out how I'm going to deal with my lip gloss. But I tell you what I know how to deal with is my drinking water. And I haven't used a plastic one-use water bottle in years. I don't know how long. So for anyone thinking about how do I get started on this crusade to save our earth, get started there. Any little thing you can do to reduce your waste. And I have to say, I'm a proud Democrat when it comes to values, but we have to do better when it comes to our waste. Because we know there's a lot of plastic bottles around campaign offices. So, I'm just saying. So we can always do better, and so we need to help each other to do better. So I wanted to just take a moment to, and I don't have much time, I'm going to talk for just a moment about indigenous sacred sites, because I think they can play a huge role in the protection of our earth. We did go for 3 days. Ben Ray and I we heard from environmental justice stakeholders at a round table. We did a tour of the emission sites in northern New Mexico, and then we all went to Chaco Canyon. After that, we did a field hearing at the state capitol with Raul Grijalva, the chair of the Natural Resources Committee, and Chairman Lowenthal, who chairs the subcommittee on minerals. So, look, if we can protect sacred sites, if we take those sites off the grid for any type of public land use, I think we can reduce emissions on public lands by a tremendous amount. Because right now, 25% of the carbon emissions coming out into our atmosphere are from public lands. So that tells me one thing: there are far too many gas and oil projects on public lands and not enough renewable energy. I was very proud of our legislators and of our governor passing the Energy Transition Act. Thank you so much. Thank you. And last thing, I'm going to end with a quote. This is my favorite quote in the whole world, and it's by a tribal leader in Canada. His name is Quatsanas. And he said, "We must protect the forests for our children, grandchildren, and children yet to be born. We must protect the forests for those who can't speak for themselves, such as the birds, animals, fish, and trees. We are their voice, you are their voice, and let's give another round of applause to these amazing children."